Okay, I think we're ready to go. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow alumni, friends of McGill. For those I don't know, my name is Michael Meighen. I have the honor to be Chancellor at McGill. And if I'm looking a little weary, it's because we just finished yesterday the 14th and last convocation ceremony at McDonald College. 7,600 freshly minted graduates of McGill were welcomed into the fold, and no doubt some of them, many of them, will end up here in Toronto. But today is an occasion for us to stand back and appreciate the talent, contributions, and accomplishments of McGill alumni and friends who live and work in the GTA. And frankly, it's been a long time coming. I think this community has been worthy of greater attention and greater recognition, and I know our Director of Advancement, Marc Weinstein, and his team agree with that. And so today we have a wonderful opportunity to celebrate some of McGill's great stories and great people. As I'm sure you all know, the Toronto group is the largest alumni cohort outside Quebec. Approximately 27,000 McGill graduates live in the GTA, and that's growing, I'm told, by 1,000 graduates a year. And it's a young group, at least some of us. 45% of the grads here are graduates since 2000, the year 2000. So it's obviously a very critical network for us at McGill, one on which we count increasingly. So that brings us to the unveiling of the awards. I hope many of you saw the ad in the Globe this morning. It didn't make the Montreal edition, I have to say, because I opened mine up with great anticipation, but there was nothing there. But it's there today in Toronto, so I hope that will aid and abet our efforts to raise our profile, raise our visibility, and get more people in the GTA to understand just what McGill is up to and how well it's achieving its goals. We've been talking about this for a long time, and we would welcome your constructive criticism as to how we can make this, which I hope will be an annual, if not biannual event, bigger and better. So we'll appreciate any advice you have in that regard. Now, before we go any farther, and I promise you we'll get you out on time, we do have a special short message from our principal, Suzanne Fortier, who left last night for Israel on university business. And though she would have wished to be here, she did record a message for us all. So let's roll it. And
Bonjour à tous nos amis de Toronto. Thank you all for being here today for this McGill Toronto Excellence Awards celebration. I wish I could be here with you to say thank you to all of the people in Toronto who have helped launch this event. And also, of course, to say congratulations for our very first winners of this McGill Toronto Excellence Awards. You have set a very high bar, and you've done so through all you've achieved in your careers, your leadership, your role in Toronto, and of course, your contributions to McGill. Alors, félicitations, congratulations to Marcel, to Kendra Alexia, to Lilia, to Lawrence, and to Mike. It is a real honor to have you as members of the McGill family. Merci et félicitations.
so now let's enjoy lunch, and after a short break, Bob Babinski, who is, of course, the president of the McGill Alumni Association, will take the stage and exercise his great talents as a master of ceremonies. Thanks.
Back in the days when I was young, for me Paris was just a song. Street lights were shining in my head. Why don't you come here?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Bob Babinski. I'm the president of the McGill Alumni Association. It's quite an honor to be here today to help celebrate the very first McGill Toronto Excellence Awards. Public service announcement just before we begin. Of course, it's election day here in Ontario. So please note that the polls close at 9 o'clock, the bars at 2 a.m. So you can do the math on that one. I'd like to thank Chancellor Meighen for his welcome remarks and for setting the stage for this event. I also want to acknowledge the tremendous support for these awards that he's given, along with his strong beliefs and his talents and achievements and success stories that he shares with other McGill alumni and supporters. So let's get the ball rolling with our first of 4 awards. This one is the Friend of McGill Award. It honors a non-graduate at McGill, presented to a leader in the Toronto community who is an ambassador for the advancement of higher education and promotes McGill and its tradition of excellence in the GTA. I would ask Marcia Moffat, graduate of the class of '91 in science, to come forward to present the award. Marcia is an accomplished business leader and a dedicated McGill volunteer. If you could just stand here, Marcia, that'd be great. And I invite the very first recipient of this award, Marcel Desautels, to come up here to receive the award. Now, there was a headline in the Globe and Mail that once described Marcel as a, quote, quiet benefactor who makes a big noise on campus. We prefer to think of him as a quiet benefactor who makes a big impact on campus. And he certainly has added his support to business and music at McGill. His generosity and vision has transformed the Desautels Faculty of Management. His inspiring support has created new programs and physical spaces, bolstered research, nurtured students, and inspired other donors to support the university. More than a quiet benefactor, Marcel is an engaged friend. He visits the campus regularly, meets with students both at the Desautels Faculty of Management and the Schulich School of Music. He's a consummate role model, keeping in touch with many students as they graduate and transition into their careers. As a constant champion for the Faculty of Management and McGill, Marcel has encouraged others to become involved as volunteers and as donors, and he builds loyalty among students, faculty, and peers. He leads by example. He has served as a faculty advisory board member since 2005, and more recently as honorary co-chair of the NBA Next 50 campaign, which resulted in the Donald E. Armstrong building that just opened last year. He grew up in St. Boniface, Manitoba, so it's entirely possible, Marcel, that you're a Winnipeg Jets fan, but for today, I'm sure you're a Toronto fan. Please join me in congratulating Marcel Desautels. Our next award is the Rising Star Award, and it's presented to a McGill alumnus or alumna under the age of 35 who demonstrates early success in his or her profession and future leadership in his or her industry or field. And joining me now on stage is Alan Desnoyers to help present this award. Alan is past president of the McGill Alumni Association and chair of the MAA's Honors and Awards Committee. We've had the pleasure the last 3 years in Montreal in the spring to host our annual awards gala. If you haven't been to that one, please consider making a spring trip next year. It's a great night of fun. Alan is also not only a longtime volunteer with the Alumni Association, but also a graduate of the Desautels Faculty of Management. I'm delighted to tell you that we actually have 2 winners of this award in his first year. So first, let me invite Kendra Alexia Hefti to come to the stage. Kendra Alexia is a graduate of our Faculty of Law, has quickly established herself as an expert in blockchain and crypto tax. She currently leads the blockchain practice at Deloitte here in Toronto, making her one of the youngest leaders in a multinational firm. Now, if some of you are wondering about the term blockchain, it is defined as, quote, a continuously growing list of records called blocks, which are linked and secured using cryptography. I hope that clears things up, especially over at the hockey table. With her experience, Kendra Alexia guides, sorry about that, organized.
That's going to cost you.
It's going to cost me, yeah. It's okay, I wasn't invited to the golf game tomorrow. Kendra Alexia guides organizations on how to use blockchain for social good. A member of the World Blockchain Academy for Girls, an initiative that provides technology skills to girls living in emerging markets to provide them with access and economic opportunities. I understand you're also active in an organization called Emerge, a Toronto-based group which supports emerging market countries through the adoption of technologies like blockchain. Your expertise in your field is already being recognized. You've served on panels for industry conferences in Toronto, where you make a point of promoting the importance of young female professionals in your industry and the need to cultivate the role of women in leadership positions. Apparently, you're not just a rising star yourself, but you're also someone who's helping others to rise to their potential, which is fantastic. Congratulations, Kendra Alexia.
So thank you all. Hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying your meal. Thank you for being here today to recognize my fellow award recipients and myself. I am very proud to be here today. It's actually with great pleasure that I have my mentor from McGill Law who is here with me today. She is hiding. Professor Alison Christians, a powerhouse at McGill, and she is the reason that I'm in tax today. Just like Alison, I had the luck of having amazing mentors. McGill Law really focuses on mentorship. In our first year in law school, we had a second-year mentee mentor us, and in our second year of law school, we had alumni mentor us. And it was a fantastic way to build relationships. Though for me, the best mentors I've had in my life have been those that I've stumbled across, like Alison, and those who I've chosen myself. And at Deloitte, I happened to stumble across a partner who became a mentor. I had a vision to create a crypto tax and blockchain tax practice, and all the other partners ran away. They thought it was a scam. And I found one out in Vaughan who decided to back me. And he dropped his Fortune 500 clients for my startup clients. And within a year, those clients are now multinationals. They're worth hundreds of millions of dollars and operating all over the world. And we have a practice that is across the country and global, and a fantastic team. And it's so, so cool. So I know many of you in the room will have been mentors and mentees. And I think to our young alumni who are here, I think it's really important that you give back, because everyone can mentor. Last week in Uganda, I was speaking at the Blockchain Africa conference, and I stumbled across an organization similar to the Blockchain Academy of Girls, but focused on training 1,000 developers to bring economic opportunities to developers in Uganda. And essentially today I'm collaborating with them to ensure that at least a quarter of those developers are women, and hoping to build something more than just coders, people who will bring back to their communities from a social impact perspective, as well as just providing guidance in so many different parts of their lives, because coding is just one tiny aspect. So we're really excited about the project, and with that I say thank you to McGill, of course, for everything. It's really such an honor, and thank you to the selection committee and to the organizers of this event as well. And as well, thank you to my fellow McGillians for being awesome. Thanks.
Okay, from the Faculty of Law, we'll now go to the Faculty of Architecture for our second award winner, Lilia Koleva. Since her first year, and if you could come up, Lilia, yes, right. Since her first year as an undergraduate, Lilia has been a leader in the McGill School of Architecture, providing support to faculty members, organizing exhibitions and events, and serving as a teaching assistant. Now, only 7 years after graduating from McGill's Master of Architecture program, Lilia is already an accomplished architect working at the Canadian architecture firm Neuf Architects. She's completed a number of challenging projects, including the new Centre Hospitalité de l'Université de Montréal in downtown Montreal, for which she was project and design lead. By the way, Lilia, if you're interested, we have a few other construction projects in Montreal that could use your help. Even at this early stage in your career, you've been recognized for your work with numerous awards, including the Royal Architecture Institute of Canada Medal and the American Institute of Architects Certificate of Merit. Lilia strongly believes that an architect is both a practitioner and an educator. She aspires to integrate teaching into her practice as she advances her career. And with her peers at Neuf Architects, Lilia is developing scholarship and sponsorship programs aimed at architecture students, recent graduates, and interns. Congratulations, Lilia.
Okay, I'll speak away from the microphone. Good afternoon. I would like to start off by thanking Wendy and the selection committee for honoring me with this award. I'm humbled and distinguished to be among so many famous people. And well, this timer doesn't help. So I would like to thank my friends and colleagues who nominated me for this award, in particular Simon Bastier, who is my best friend and his colleague from McGill. And, oh, sorry about this. So Simon nominated me. He was in Mexico on a holiday, and he texted me for my address, and he asked me, he's searching for internet, and I was wondering why. So he did the nomination in Mexico City in the Museum of Contemporary Art. He managed to find internet to make the nomination. So thank you, Simon, and thank you for coming this morning, flying in from Manhattan to be here with me. So there's several reasons why this award feels so special and dear to me. So I arrived in Canada 13 years ago as an international student with an engineering faculty scholarship. I wouldn't have been able to be here to study at McGill if it was not for the scholarship. So not knowing anybody in Canada and not having a family here, McGill soon became my family, my friends, like everything I was associating Canada with. So after graduating, and while I was still at McGill, in 2007, I was involved in the History in the Making program, so that's where I met some of the faces that are here. It was a big program, and I spoke at that event as well, with equal success as today. And after graduating, I kept close ties with McGill, the School of Architecture, where I attended reviews and studios, and I was really hoping to, be closely involved with the School of Architecture until I moved here to Toronto. So I started my career, as already mentioned, in design leadership role on a prestigious and unique project, the CHUM Hospital in Montreal, which at the time was one of the largest healthcare projects in North America. It was a 7-year-long project. It was very intense, and I was lucky that I was amongst many McGill graduates. And we were all very proud when the project finished, and we were recognized with a number of awards. So 4 years ago, I moved to Toronto to establish, with the goal to establish the Neuf practice office for Toronto. Neuf had an office in Montreal, about 150 architects, and another small practice of 10 architects in Ottawa, so Toronto was the natural and the right answer for us. So coming to a highly competitive market like Toronto, we realized that beyond distinguishing ourselves for high-quality architectural services, it was equally important to show an in-depth understanding of the city, to build a network, and to closely listen and work with our clients and the city officials. And in that journey to date, we have met a number of McGill graduates that have helped, and always the name McGill was very well received, and there was kind of an aura that came with that name. So many of these people are obviously in different industries at different levels, but there was something that always felt right. So I truly believe these awards and these events, with which I hope I'll be more involved in the future, will bring the Toronto McGill community together and only further help each one of us accomplish more and demonstrate our outstanding education and skills. We already have two of their interns in Montreal who are going back to McGill for their master's degree that expressed desire to come and work in our practice here in Toronto. So I really look forward to them finishing at McGill and coming here to continue building up. We have a great team with one of my colleagues, also a McGill graduate, that is here. So as a firm and currently the managing architect for Neuf Toronto, I really look forward to building this practice, continuing to build, to contribute to the built form architecture and in general making Toronto a world-class city. So thank you once again.
Thank you for that very touching dedication to the university and to the path that you've taken. It's two amazing rising stars. We're going to take a 5-minute break so you can continue what was maybe an interrupted conversation, and then we have 2 more fantastic awards to give you in 5 minutes.
Fashion and beauty everywhere, place for romantic love affairs. Even if for me it's just a dream. The place is in.
Our third award is the Impact Award, and for this one I'd call upon Chancellor Meighen to return to the stage to help with the presentation. This award is given to a McGill alumnus or alumna whose advocacy is driving change to better his or her industry, community, and or the advancement of the McGill community in Toronto, and someone who fosters a sense of collaboration and diversity. So I'm pleased to tell you that the very first recipient of this award is Lawrence Bloomberg, and I would ask him to come on the stage. Here are some of the descriptions which are routinely used to describe Lawrence Bloomberg: distinguished philanthropist, accomplished Canadian business leader, advocate and supporter of education, facilitator of innovation and entrepreneurship, active member of his community. The common thread in all of Lawrence's areas of achievement is his commitment and passion. He's passionate in his support for research, education, healthcare, and culture. He's passionate about championing Canadian values and the next generation of innovators. Now, that passion and commitment has certainly had a transformative impact on McGill, improving health, boosting education, and supporting the Desautels Faculty of Management. As with all of Lawrence's initiatives, his support flows from his experience, combined with thoughtful reflection and genuine concern for the well-being of his community. That care and concern has guided his diverse involvement, not just at McGill, but throughout the Toronto community. He is founder and past director of the Mars Discovery District, former director of the Royal Ontario Museum and the Toronto International Film Festival, and currently serves as Chancellor of Ryerson University. His philanthropic gifts have contributed immensely to the Toronto community and include the Lawrence S. Bloomberg Faculty of Nursing at the University of Toronto and the Francis Bloomberg Center for Women's and Infants' Health at Mount Sinai Hospital. Most recently, Lawrence joined fellow graduates of the Desautels Faculty of Management in support of the MBA Next 50 campaign and the new Donald E. Armstrong Building, where his philanthropic support literally helps students, quote, move up in the world, thanks to the Lawrence Bloomberg staircase named in his honor. In 2010, Lawrence was awarded the Order of Ontario, and in 2011, he was named a member of the Order of Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Lawrence Bloomberg.
Chancellor Meighen, Bob, thank you very much for those very kind comments. You know, to be in Toronto, to live in Toronto, and to be honored by your university, particularly to be honored, especially to be honored by McGill, is really something very special for me. And then to have being honored by being given an award for impact is pretty good. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I was a member of the McGill first MBA class. So I was there I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I was there in '63. And it was a school of about 25 students. There was maybe 12 teachers, and it was a fabulous, fabulous program. And it really left me when I graduated there with three things. One, I learned some real skills, which I was able to apply when I got out into business. Two, it gave me tremendous confidence when I left that school because I really thought their program was on the money. And three, they gave us a philosophy that you had to go out there and make the world a better place. And so whether it was in business or whether it was in the community, they really encouraged us when you got out there to try to make the world a better place and do things which really had impact. So I sort of did that. So I graduated in '65. I worked in Montreal for a few years, and then I moved to Toronto in '71. So that was very exciting. And a few years later, I decided that I'd open an investment dealer firm because I thought I can do it better than the existing firms were doing it. I had some help from my friend here, John Clark, and I opened a dealer, and 20 years later, we sold it to the National Bank, and that worked out very well. In the community, I got involved in a number of things where I thought you can have impact. So the first thing was I chaired Mount Sinai Hospital for 10 years, and we did some great things and really improved patient care. As you heard a moment ago, I got involved with Mars as a founder and a director, and we created Mars, which is one of the big accelerators in Canada today. And I think that's worked out very well and has had impact. And then more recently, I decided that I'm going to try to help in the educational field. So I accepted the chancellorship at Ryerson, which I've really enjoyed, which I'm still in the process of discharging my responsibilities there. So I've really had, you know, a great time doing things and trying to have an impact in the community where I live, and I try to make that. I try to do that as well at McGill. I'm sorry. Now, yesterday, when we had an on-dock yesterday at Ryerson, and I hate to bring up a Ryerson event, but the honoree was the Right Honorable David Johnson, who's a former principal of McGill. And he was a great honoree. He stood up and told some great stories, but his stories really centered around impact. So that was sort of fun, and I said, geez, I have to mention that tomorrow. And I also have to say a word to the Chancellor. When the Chancellor called me to talk about this award, I got to tell you, I thought he was joking. He said, you know, McGill wants to give you an award for impact. And I said something, I'm usually not very funny, and I wasn't very funny. And I said something like, geez, you go to McGill and 50 years later you get an award for impact. I don't think it went over well, but I want to tell you now, it was a great idea. And it was a great idea, and we should be celebrating impact, because that's what schools do. They produce students that can come out into the society and do good things. So thank you for giving me this award. I also have to thank my wife, Frances, sitting here. for putting up with the things I've done and encouraging me and all that sort of stuff. Without her, I certainly couldn't have done it, and I'm glad that my two daughters were here with me today. I have a son who's not here, my daughter Bonnie, my daughter Deborah. Guys, thank you very much.
Now it's time to present our final award, the Distinguished Leader Award, someone else who's had tremendous impact. This award is presented to a McGill alumnus or alumna who has demonstrated exemplary leadership in his or her chosen field and demonstrated that with a prolific career. The honoree is a trailblazer who serves as an inspiration and a mentor to the next generation of leaders who brings honor to McGill through professional achievements. The inaugural recipient of this prize is Mike Babcock. Mike's story and his list of achievements, pretty well known now, but it bears repeating. He's a household name in Toronto, and I dare say in Canada and anywhere where people follow hockey. And his name is also synonymous with the storied Maple Leafs hockey franchise at the moment. But long before Mike was a Leafs coach, Mike was a McGill student, an all-star defenseman for the Redmond hockey team and the team's co-captain. And before joining the National Hockey League, Mike excelled as a coach and led Canada to a gold medal at the 1997 World Junior Championships. In the NHL, he posted an enviable record in his 10 seasons with the Detroit Red Wings, guiding the team to the playoffs every year and winning the Stanley Cup in 2008. He also coached Team Canada to gold medal victories at the Vancouver and Sochi Olympics, and he's even worn his lucky McGill tie behind the bench, notably during Team Canada's gold medal victory at the Vancouver Olympics. Mike joined the Maple Leafs in 2015. He's been part of the revitalization process here, leading the Leafs to the playoffs in 2017 and again this spring. Now, before we present this award, I invite you, Mike, and everyone to just have a look at this short video.
You have no idea how thrilled I am to be here today. As an education student at McGill, I learned early, you stand up to be seen, you speak out to be heard, and you keep it short to be appreciated so you can all relax. In 1983, when I left Saskatoon to attend McGill University, I had no idea how McGill was going to affect the rest of my life.
We met in a popular McGill pub just a couple blocks away from the rink, and I think Mike was a little surprised to be out on a Sunday night, so we got introduced to Montreal pretty quick that way.
He obviously stood out. He was a Western boy, and he was an Anglophone, so he was kind of in foreign territories. You know, we quickly surrounded one another and made him feel welcome.
We did everything together. We lived together, we ate together, we watched TV together, so you get to know the guys pretty well, and it was a pretty formative time, I think, in all of our lives.
Well, he was a two-time All-Star at McGill, an offensive line defenseman, a key man on the power play. He was team MVP, captain in his last year. Mike had a presence, and he still does. He has a presence about him. If you're in a room with him, sort of all eyes are drawn to him.
He was always a leader on the team in so many ways, both on the ice and off the ice.
Definitely you could see this is a guy with some leadership qualities right off the bat.
When he went out looking for a job, he was, I think, going to be a teacher. He was planning on being a teacher.
We already started a history of having hockey guys come in as student teachers. And he took on a teaching role at the elementary level. At that time, teaching jobs were few and far between, and we didn't have anything permanent for him. So he took his chances, and he went off to coach. I think it worked out fairly well for him.
actually at Schwartz's and talking about the various teams, and guys are throwing their opinions out. And at one point he says, "What do you think about the Leafs?" And all of us went, "The Leafs? You can't go to the Leafs, come on." I got to say now, the Leafs are so much fun to watch that I got to cheer for the Leafs as well.
I saw how important a quality head coach was going to be. Probably for me, watching how he handled representing Canada and sort of speaking to all of Canada about the 2 Olympic teams that he coached were a really good indication for me that in a city like Toronto that Mike could be a really good fit. And in the change I saw with our attitude and the way we were perceived around the league by executives, by media, by players, most importantly, it was an immediate change.
All of a sudden, the Leafs are a team to be proud of and reckoned with. This would be the ultimate. This would be the ultimate dream, to win the Stanley Cup in Toronto.
Mark my word, there's without any doubt in my mind, he will bring a Stanley Cup to this city before he's done.
Congratulations, Mike, on this well-deserved honor. As we all know, we're very fortunate to work and serve this great city and all of the fans who support us each and every day.
And this Distinguished Leadership Award from McGill University is an incredibly well-deserved honor. We both care a great deal for McGill University, and I'm proud to share that association with you.
All of us here at McGill, Mike, are thrilled that you're the very first recipient of the McGill Toronto Leadership Award. We're proud of you as Torontonians, and even more so as McGillians. But perhaps some of us are just a tiny bit jealous, being ongoing and unremitting fans of the Canadiens. Thanks, Mike, and well done.
Mike, congrats on everything you've accomplished.
Well deserved, and keep up the good work.
I know you're very proud of McGill, and we're very happy to have you here in Toronto, so congratulations.
It was real simple for me. I either had to join in or be left behind. The young man who left Saskatoon to come to McGill to play hockey soon found himself a student with high expectations for himself.
Hi, Mike. On behalf of Allie, Michael, and Taylor, I just want to take this opportunity and congratulate you on receiving this award from McGill. We're very blessed to have you in our lives, and we love you very much.
Marc Weinstein, who's McGill's Vice Principal of University Advancement, joins me on stage, and I'd also ask Coach Mike Babcock to come on up. As the video makes very clear, Mike's talents, achievements, and leadership have made him successful in every phase of his career, from his McGill days to his current role here with the Maple Leafs. Throughout your career, Mike, you've inspired your players, your community, your alma mater, and not just your hockey, but in many ways through your support for mental health awareness. Perhaps most importantly for us, Mike's ties to his teammates and McGill have remained strong, as is evidenced by the table to my far right. Some of your closest friends are here. You're always there for McGill, and you return frequently to campus to speak to students and alumni, and you support McGill events on a very regular basis. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mike Babcock.
Well, thank you, everybody. They got this running clock. I promise to keep it short. Thank you, McGill. There's impressive people in the room here today, and I have to tell you, I was taken off guard by that when they showed my wife. That was emotional for me, but I really appreciate being here and having this opportunity today. Kendra, Lilia, rising stars. I have 2 young girls. I have a 25-year-old daughter and a 21-year-old daughter, and they need leadership. They need people, driven women who are showing them the way, and meeting you here today was impressive, to say the least. To Marcel, Lawrence, the difference makers that you've been in the community, the way you've found a way to do what you love to do and to give back and to make a difference is beyond impressive, and unbelievable leadership to the rest of us who are fortunate enough to graduate from McGill. I think the nomination committee, I don't know a whole bunch about this, but the nomination committee and the selection committee for giving me this honor. It's obviously very, very special to be here today, and I'm humbled, to say the least. What I thought I'd do, and I know maybe I'm supposed to talk about leadership, but I don't really want to. And I didn't know the Leafs were allowed to come in here, so it's just one of those things. Actually, Preds, I can't believe they let you in the room, but I want to thank Larry Tannenbaum for what you've done for the city of Toronto, and obviously the Toronto Maple Leaf Shanty, Mike. But your leadership, Larry, in this community, when I met with you in Shanty at your house, that was a difference maker for me. When I went home that day, and I said to my wife we might be going to the Leafs, she was shocked. I was too. So the three things I'd briefly like to cover here today, quickly, and my time's running, I got 3 minutes left, is number one is the gift of McGill. Number two is McGill hockey and the friendships. And number three is my family. I don't get to talk about them enough. I want to talk about my family, and I want to talk about mental health and tie that in 3 minutes, so I got to get going here. I've spent a lot of time over the years thinking about McGill and the gift that is McGill. What is it? And what I've come up with over the years is simply this. It's the foundation, it's the platform, it's the confidence that you get to have a running start to life. I want to say it again. It's the platform, it's the confidence, it's the foundation that gives you a running start, and that's simply what it is. But it is a heck of a start, and for those of us who graduated from there, we should be proud. McGill hockey, you know, I don't remember a lot about the hockey as much as I remember these guys, and to have two tables full of unbelievable leaders in their own right, very successful guys in the business world, very successful family people, but for you to be here and to be my friends. Excuse me. That means a lot to me. This year, so I went there 83, 84. So this year on one of our breaks in the NHL, 6 of us were all roommates and played together, and our wives. So 12 of us went to Vail for 4 days skiing. When you're hanging out with your buddies and their wives 34 years after you graduate and you're doing things together, you're still creating memories. You're creating moments you get to talk about in your life. And to me, that's a special, special thing. So thanks very much, guys. My family. And, you know, I was jealous here today, to tell you the truth, that I didn't bring my family when I heard you talking about your family. I've been hanging around with my wife since 1988. She's the love of my life. She's an unreal woman. I would not be here today with what's gone on in my life without her direction, without those good tightenings I get on a regular basis from her. She's the driving force of our crew without any question. She's fantastic. And we have 3 fantastic children. We've been blessed by God without any question. My oldest girl, Allie, she just graduated from grad school at Michigan in public health. She's on her way to do her residency at Brigham Women's in Boston, at Harvard Research Hospital. And she's a good friend of mine. She's a special kid. My son, Mike, is a Division I hockey player in Boston. And Merrimack, he's a business student. All he wants to do is play hockey, and yet at the same time, he's finding a way to be a real good student and set up for opportunities later in life. My youngest girl, Taylor, is going to graduate at the University of Michigan this year in the sciences. She wants to be an occupational therapist. She doesn't know where that's taking her, where it's going, but that's what she's planning on doing. But they're impressive people. They're our friends, and we love being together. And all the great things that happen to you in your life, they're great, but they're great when you got people to share them with. When I think, and I want to spend a second on this, when I went to my daughter's graduation here this spring, the keynote speaker, I thought the most impactful line for me of his presentation was, everybody needs an honest ear to share their fears. Everybody needs an honest ear to share their fears. When I think about mental health, the ability to express yourself, that's what my wife's been for me. That's what my kids have been for me. They've been my getting out of the real world, if that makes any sense, and yet they are my real world. When I think of how you can touch a button today, when I think of this phone, this is my first time I ever used it up here. I'm not very good at it, but I wanted to do it. Anyway, When I think of the 900 buttons you can push in the world today to gather information, I always say to myself and I say to my kids is, of those 900 little bits of information, there's way more. How many of them are positive and how many of them are self-destructive? I think in today's world in mental health and in family, and this big family of McGill, those of us who've been touched by McGill are very, very, very blessed. Like I said, it was the platform for a running start. But when I see these guys here today, when I listen to you talk about your family, when I see the rising stars, I'm impressed. And I think sometimes you got to renew where you've been to be impressed with what the opportunity you had. I can't thank you enough for today. I got to tell you, I didn't know what I was coming to. I am impressed. And I want to close with this last thought. I wasn't thinking of today. I got up and I went in and I worked out, and then after I was done lifting, I went for a run. And I wanted to run and lift today just like I would be if I was coaching in the Stanley Cup final, because I wanted to get used to doing that. I know Trotzy and those guys, they got the opportunity, and Glant, they got the opportunity here tonight, and one day we're going to get that opportunity here in Toronto. McGill, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marc Weinstein. I'm the Vice Principal for University Advancement. I have the honor of actually closing today's lunch. Usually that honor is given to the Chancellor, but for the first time, I don't know why, I've been asked to close today's lunch, so I'm thrilled to be here. It's a real honor to be here with you for the first ever McGill Toronto Excellence Awards. This is an event whose time has definitely come, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to see our Toronto alumni community recognize our worthy recipients today. I'd like to offer my sincere congratulations to Marcel, Lilia, Kendra, Lawrence, and of course, Mike Babcock on their awards. And of course, congratulations to Mike on receiving the first Distinguished Leaders Award. You are a leader in every sense of the word. As a hockey coach, a member of the Toronto alumni community, McGill Athletics, and our university, you always go the extra mile for us. Many thanks. Mille merci, Mike. I want to offer my thanks and appreciation to everyone who submitted a nomination and to all the nominees. It is a credit to the wealth of talent and accomplishments of our Toronto community that we had so many fine candidates to consider. We have close to 30,000 alumni in the GTA, so it is time for us to be here and do this type of luncheon year after year. Many thanks and appreciation also to the members of the selection committee who spent their time and effort selecting the final list of award recipients. So thanks to Melissa Odette, Jessica Chutter, Rochelle De Goyas, Jeff Feiner, Robin Fowler, Alan Desnoyers, Marcia Moffat, and Neil Murdoch for a great job. Let's give them a round of applause. Thanks also to the McGill Alumni Association of Toronto, our advancement team here and in Montreal, all the volunteers who helped out with today's events, all the alumni who sponsored tickets for young alumni and students, and our phenomenal MC, Bob Babinski. Thank you, Bob. Last but not least, thanks to all of you, our Toronto alumni and friends. Toronto may be separated from Montreal by a 6-hour drive along the 401, but it is closer to McGill than ever before. We are connected through McGill 24, social media, virtual communities, and other digital platforms. More than that, we are connected by a common passion for our alma mater. Our Toronto community is an integral part of McGill, and your achievements as McGillians and Torontonians are certainly deserving of recognition. It's truly an honor to hear your stories and celebrate your accomplishments. And as we approach McGill's 200th anniversary, our McGill Toronto Excellence Award winners stand out as fine examples of community leadership and exemplary models of engagement who will guide us along the road to our bicentennial in 2021. Thanks again for joining us this afternoon. Congratulations to all our award recipients, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you again.